Hey, great day to you all. I hope that you all have woken up super grateful to be alive again another day in this magical experience. And I hope that you've been able to tell yourself all of those great things that you needed to hear. Like you're amazing, you're strong, you're smart, you're beautiful, you're capable. You can absolutely do anything that you want, no matter what it is. You just got to get clear about the things that you want in your life and you can have them. Literally. Hey, Big Ed, you're starting again? Because you hear me on the live? Stop, please. My dog seems to do that religiously every time I come out here. Well, yeah, I see you. I see you. Stop that. Guys, today's topic you don't want to miss, and you want to stick around till the end. I want to just let you guys all know, don't forget Bruno's event tomorrow. It's a full day event. I have shared the links. I will add the links in the comments after the live. All right. I was asked the best question on this planet. And we're going to get into it. And what was that question? Tobi, what is this survival mode that everybody's talking about? How does it happen? And how do we stay stuck in it? So if you stick around to the end of the live, you're going to know exactly what survival is and what survival mode is. Big head. You'll know what survival mode is, what induces it, and how you stay stuck in it. All right? So we'll jump into it. What is exactly survival mode? Well, we're born in the state of unconditional love, and that's all we know. We know no restrictions. We know no limits. We know no boundaries. All we know is endless possibilities. And, before we can even crawl, we got to learn how to move, and we got to learn how to roll over, and then it's how to get up on all fours, and then it's how to make the motion to move. And, we conquer a lot of things in this truest nature of our being. Well, the true disconnect that pushes you into survival mode is your first trauma that you endure. Yeah. Because if the real state of what we're supposed to live is in this state that we're born in, to discover and explore everything humanly possible, during this state of our truest nature of our being, we process things about, I think it's 3,000 to 5,000 things per minute in your truest state, in your highest potential. Factually. We're always constantly processing data, whether you're aware of it or not. Like you could be walking down the street now, and okay, it's a beautiful day, but if you're not focused on the beautiful day, you're not going to feel it. Okay? So, you will not be aware of things that you are not focused on. So what do I mean by that? Well, listen. From your first time that you have a trauma, it literally knocks you out of your primal, thriving state of being. Because it's trauma. And during trauma, what happens for us to actually endure it is we go through a state of being numb to endure the trauma, to survive it. So the DMT gets produced, and there's a small part of your soul that has to be released in order for you to endure it. And this is why the DMT is made. It's to produce the numbing in your body, a euphoric state, no matter what trauma you're living, so that you can endure it, because it is factually a contradiction from what you're supposed to be living. Even though we know we got to live things and we got to experience everything, yes, but the survival state, which we all have been pushed into. No, like there's nobody that's walking around survival free in the life that we live. Because it doesn't always have to be just, anyway, I get it. Okay, I'm being told I'm going to lose you guys if I wander. So I'm going to stay on this topic clear and concisely. Survival mode is installed from the first time you experience fear or trauma in your life. So from that moment of disconnect, well, you are no longer in your thriving state of your truest nature of your being. Because there's a disruption in that. So because you don't know how to self-regulate back into that state of your truest nature of your being, what happens is the disruption actually installs certain belief systems according to that trauma. Why? Because it has to be stamped there so that you can avoid it and not live that same experience again. But the majority of us have been pushed into a survival mode at such a young age that we wouldn't even realize that that was our first disconnect. Because we have been so busy looking at our life and not even realizing where it all started. Because we forget about it. We're not focused on it. We're focused on things happening and things continuing in our life. So what happens with the disruption of your truest nature of your being is that it sets you into a pattern of surviving that trauma and avoiding it again. Okay? So if you're somebody that was born into this world and has not experienced any kind of trauma, well then other things could have induced your survival mode. Like being shamed or being blamed or being guilted or being lied to or being anything that was a contradiction to your truest nature of your being can throw anybody into a survival state. Why? Because now you are trying to survive after your truest nature has been disrupted and your balance has been disrupted. So your harmony of your being is now disrupted. So if your truest nature pushes you to thrive all the time, and there is a disruption in that truest nature of your being, well, then your body automatically goes into survival mode. Until you can identify the self patterns of survival. Because we run on survival for so long that it feels like a normal state of being. Yeah, but it's not. It's the farthest thing from the truest nature of your being. Survival state is not good at all. And that's why I tell people, when somebody shows up in your life, they are only as good to you as the state of being and the frequency that they embody. Factually. So if you yourself are a healed person, well, guess what? Somebody in survival mode is not good for you. Simple. To interact with, to have any kind of partnerships or any kind of things with, survival mode is real once you're pushed into it. And it happens to us. And normally it happens to us so young that, like I said, we run on this survival mode for so long that you don't even realize you're operating out of survival. The only way to disrupt that survival is to challenge it. That's what I had to do. So I'll speak to you guys from how I overcame my survival mode. Listen, I was in survival mode all my life. But I'll tell you something, even coming back from septic shock and ICU and kickstarting my kidneys and manifesting more life, Even during my healing, I was never in survival because I was aware. How did I come out of my survival? Is I had to stare it dead in the face and tell it would no longer control me. And that my body and my systems worked for me. And that I refused to run on survival mode. Fight, flight, or freeze. And that's real. And when you get locked into that pattern in your mind, it happens automatically. Just like your subconscious brain fuels all your organs, all your functions, well, it also fuels your survival mode too, if that's how you're operating, without you even being aware, because you're not aware of all the systems that your body is running within you right now today. You only feel these systems and bring focus to these systems when you are not feeling well, when you have a certain pain, when you don't feel good. Let's say, okay, you've got gastro, you got the shits. There we go. You don't notice these things, or these patterns being disrupted in your body because you're not focused on them. So once you've been pushed into survival mode, you run like that unaware until you become aware of the mode that you are operating in. So the question about what is it and how do you get out of it and how do we stay locked into it? Well, look, the minute you get disrupted out of your truest nature of your being, you are no longer thriving, because the thriving within you is the truest nature of your being. Harmony, balance, everything running. It knows what to do. No hiccups, no disruptions, no distractions, no distortions. The trauma, the pain, the suffering, the fear, the guilt, the shame, the blame, whatever you were installed with for the first 7 years of your life dictates whether you're in survival mode or not. And if you haven't corrected that mode, well, then you are running on that mode unaware. Factually. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter what you've learned on top of that survival mode. If you have not corrected the survival mode, you are operating from it. And if you're unaware that you're operating in survival mode, well, then how the hell are you ever going to fix it? You won't. Well, those are the same results that you're producing in anything that you do in your life. No matter where you put your energy, your thoughts, your focus, anything. How good is your energy to anything, even yourself, if you're running on survival? You cannot create from your highest potential of your being when you're running on survival. You are creating from survival. It doesn't work. Because when you're in survival mode, everything's a threat. Even your own being. Because that's the primal, truest threat, is the distortion and the disruption of your highest potential of your being. So survival state gets installed in us when we get disrupted from the flow of our highest potential. And we remain operating like that until we fix it. Well, I had to be pushed to death to figure that out and fix it. But once you're aware and you become totally accountable for what mode you want to operate in, oh, it's so easy to fix survival mode. And everybody thinks it's such a big deal. No, it's not. It really isn't. It's very simple. And a lot of people have said to me, Tobi, the inner work, it sounds like so much work. And no, listen, you got to decide and be responsible for the state of being that you're operating on. And if you are not taking a look at it, you are unaware. Just like you're unaware of what your kidneys have to do. You're unaware of the systems that happen when you breathe. You're unaware of all the movement, the responses, everything going on in your body. And if you are operating from survival mode because your highest potential has been disrupted, it's very easy to get back in alignment with it because it never stops. It is just a distortion. So it's like We always have our highest potential. It's a choice, though, whether you want to operate from it or not. Literally. Because your highest potential of your being, whether you are disconnected from it, things seem distorted to your vision about it, it is still fueling everything you think, say, and do. No matter what. No matter what. That's why it's really, really important for people to identify survival mode if they're operating on it. How do you identify survival mode? Very easy. Look at what survival mode is. Remember, I've been telling you guys about stored memories in our subconscious brain and why they're there? They are only there as a quick reference point to your subconscious automatic programming to make sure that you avoid these same situations again, because it distorts your highest potential. This is why I tell people, go back into your brain of your programming in the first 7 years of your life and figure that shit out. Look at the people who programmed you. Look at the belief systems. Look at the traumas you had to endure and release all the emotions to it. Be accepting of it. How do you do that? Hey, it is what it is. It's okay. Look at who I've become today. That is no longer relevant. It was a part of my experience, but it does not and will not govern my today by clear choice. With that intention, you remove survival mode, because it's the first 7 years of your life that has caused your survival mode. So it's not the things that you did while you were in survival mode that have kept you there. It was the initial distortion and disconnect from your highest potential that put you on that roller coaster ride. How do I know? I'm living proof of it. I lived in survival. Listen, I was born into an environment where survival was crucial. Traumatized very young. Very, very young. Well, I was always in survival mode. What does survival mode produce in you? We have an automatic system that operates when there's something that is a threat. Well, every memory that is threatening to you remains a threat until you correct it. This is what keeps you locked into survival mode. Is all of these quick reference points that have been stored in your brain as threats that are functioning automatically. So any situation in your life, like I've been telling people, that has made you not feel right and has distorted your well-being, you must face head on. And tell yourself that that is no longer a threat to you. Because if you don't, that will remain a threat until you address it. It's one of the laws of the universe. You cannot disrupt the pattern or correct it without identifying, accepting it for what it is, and forgiving it. Those are the 3 things you got to do. Identify, accept, and forgive. Yeah. These little things that have been stored as threats in our body keep us in a state of survival. So we are constantly fighting things. No matter what anybody says to you, well, you're fighting what they're saying to you, or you're fighting to prove your point, or you're fighting to make your way in the world, or you're fighting at everything that you are doing. That's survival mode. You're walking around with a chip on your shoulder because you just feel like the world is what it is, whatever. That is survival mode. So if you're running from everything, so if you're just taking off or you can't face your shit, you just run away from it. You don't want to face anything. That's survival mode. It's a total distortion from your highest potential. When you're operating from your highest potential, you fear nothing, so nothing's a threat. Because your body has instinctually a brain to take care of threats that arise. Wow. When you are not in survival mode, you can face everything and anything. You're not running from anything. So, are you running from your past? Are you running from your parents or the experiences of it? Are you running from facing your own self? You're in survival mode. Factually. And then there's the freeze aspect of it. Well, do you feel stuck? Do you feel stuck in the situations that you have to live? Do you still feel stuck in a depression? Do you feel stuck in anxiety? Do you feel stuck in these states of being that you choose? That's survival mode. Our highest potential of our being, we're supposed to flow freely and thrive. That's our birthright. So any distortion of that and operating from that is survival. How do you get locked in it? Because you choose not to be self-aware and take a look. And that's all you got to do. Take a look. And I've been telling people for weeks, stop watching what everybody else is doing. Take a look at you. How do you operate? How do you think? What are the ideas popping up? How do you show up in the world? What are you letting in your life? What are you listening to? What are you eating? Because all of these things you are unaware of unless you take a look at it. The same way all of the other systems in our body are working. Naturally. Automatically. With our highest potential involved. Running from your operating from a state of your highest potential is very different than survival mode. And I hate to say it, but the majority of the population on the planet is in survival mode until they correct it. I chose to correct it. That's how I've healed my face after half paralysis last year. I'll remind you guys again today. Survival mode does not heal. If you're in any state of survival, you will get sick because you are imbalanced. You're imbalanced. You're not in alignment and in perfect balance. So there is an imbalance. There's a distortion. So you're fueling the distortion and the survival mode until you stop it. Well, I'm living proof that no matter what you live, and no matter what environment you've grown up in, and no matter who your parents were, or no matter what your family was, or how your family treated you, or how you were choked into survival mode your whole life, you can fix it. I'm living proof. This is why I believe in every single person on the planet, because it's very rare to find somebody who's lived what I've had to live in totality and still be okay and still heal and still come out here and be the light worker that I am. Okay? Survival mode is not healthy. Nobody can live in survival mode and thrive. It's a total contradiction. And where does survival come from? The mind. Because of the memories stored, stamped by emotions. Just like anything that you have to live is not a problem. Where the problems come is from your mind. And how can you take your mind off of your problems while you distract yourself? You go do something else. It's all in your mind. Well, your mind is also producing the survival mode. This is why I tell people, if you don't take a look at the things that you think, say, and do, it is running you without you even being aware. on a pattern of repeat and a cycle with all of the shit that's in there, all of these false threats that are no longer relevant. It may have been a threat at that moment, but you are no longer living it. Well, as long as it's stored in your brain, in your subconscious mind, as a self-reflection point, well, it is running your life. Factually. This is why I come out here passionate and I tell you guys. And I'm so grateful for this question about the survival. Survival mode is real. And I hear way too many people, after I've said to them, you know, I can get you out of survival mode, eh? I'll show you how to do it. Then they get defensive. Oh, I'm not in survival mode. There's the fight response. Yeah, you are. Or they avoid me because they don't want to talk about fixing themselves. So what happens? There's survival mode. Or they stay stuck. There's survival mode. See what I mean? And without correcting survival mode, you're bringing survival to every single thing that you touch, say, and do. So you stay true, first and foremost, to that survival and not your truest nature until you correct it. Hey, well, I can guarantee you one thing. Within a span of maximum 1 hour, I can identify why you're in survival mode and exactly what you need to do to correct it. Guys, I should, really, you guys need to take this stuff seriously. And a lot of people, and I'm talking by at least 40 people, have told me, Tobi, you are so strong and you come out so passionate and you are so knowledgeable and you're so secure in your being that it scares me to have to do a one-on-one with you. That is fucking survival mode. And all I can say to you is, you need that time with me. Especially the ones that don't have the balls to do it. You guys need it the most. Because that shows how deeply you're stuck in survival. Well, there's no living organism on the planet that can be stuck in survival forever in repeat patterns. Because nature doesn't survive. It thrives. And that's how you're supposed to operate too. Out of the truest and highest potential of your being. And if you're not, you are running in survival. Well, on that topic, Mother Nature has been in survival because of man for too long. And that's why the shifts are starting to happen. Tonight's lunar eclipse. Let the grand awakening begin. Like I've been telling you guys now for months, since November, the energetic influence on this planet is increasing because the universe is stepping in. I told you guys time and time again to rid yourself of anything that is negative in your being, negative thoughts, negative ways, negative experiences that are harming you. Because with the energetic influence and the heightened frequency on the planet and with all the shifts happening, well, your energy is increasing too. Whether you like it or not. And that's why a lot of people are feeling sick. They're not feeling right. They don't understand what's going on because they are their energy of their being. You've been used to running in survival mode. So operating out of fear, which is 150 hertz. Your body cannot survive on that energy frequency. It can't. So the increased elevation energetic influence on the planet now is to force as many humans as possible to come out of survival. Okay? Simply that. because you can't do the work on your own, because you don't have the courage to face. And I'm not sitting here shaming and blaming anybody, because guess what? I had to face that shit head on. And I highly doubt that there's another person that had to go do the cleanup that I was carrying. Okay? And do it alone with no support and no guidance but from the universe on how to do it. That's why I'm so mastered. Because there's nobody that taught me shit. The universe taught me. Because that's the only thing I've ever been able to trust. Okay? So, you can trust one thing when it comes to me. I'm looking for real change in this world. And I will influence that intentionally by sharing as much knowledge as humanly possible about coming out here and showing you all what is humanly possible. You guys that have been watching my videos know, last year this time, half of my face was paralyzed and they gave me 3 months to live. I was sitting out here telling you guys I didn't know if I was going to make it, that I left it in the hands of the universe. I'm sitting here today healed. My mouth is moving. Factually, okay? So guess what? I cannot accept an excuse from another living being because I know what's possible. But I can't want for you what you do not want for yourself. And I cannot influence you to change your survival mode back into your highest potential unless you want it for yourself. Simply, factually. But yeah, there is a lot of people coming to me telling me, Tobi, I'm intimidated. Tobi, I would love to have you coach me, but I'm scared. You're not scared of me. You're scared of facing your own shit because you know I will truthfully tell you about it. So you're not scared of me. You're scared of the truth. So let's get right with that too. Maybe it's time for you to face the truth. And I hope and pray that you choose that for yourself. Because 2024, all truths must be revealed. So even yours. You can't run from it. You can't fight it. And you can't freeze in it. You have to accept it. Identify it first. Accept it. Forgive it. And then love yourself. Because it's really hard to love yourself when you're in survival also. That's another. So everybody, a lot of people have said to me, oh, this loving yourself and fully being able to love each other. Listen, we're all loving each other out of fucking survival until we're not. Simple. I'll say it loud and proud. And that's why when I watch couples that are in total disarray, or I watch business partners in total disarray, or I watch things in total disarray, I see the fucking survival in it. A simple shift. That's all it takes. You know what that simple shift is? It's a factual choice. Nobody can make that choice for you but you, and I hope you make the right choice for yourself because we're about to experience the greatest show on earth. Factually. Why do I say that? Because the system that has locked us to this system is going to put on a grand performance. And that's what's going to separate the real from the not. And I hope that all of you guys can stand up authentically, you, unapologetically, you, and projecting love into this planet the way that it's needed. Because love operations are coming back, and it doesn't matter who likes it or not. Because those who don't like it and cannot be loving, sayonara. Literally. And that's okay with me. Because all the work that I've done to be a loving individual and remain loving throughout my whole survival mode, yes, I'm one that is putting my whole life force into the energetic shifts on this planet. And I'll remind you guys today, how powerful is your life force? Well, if you calculate every cell of your being, that's 2.73 trillion hertz of energy. You can light up a fucking country with that. Okay? How many kilowatts do you use on your hydro bill? Or on your electricity bill? Go take a look at that. Go see what you're paying for that amount of energy and then see what your body is carrying as energy. I think that might be the biggest wake-up call that you need. That's why I say the highest potential of your being is a calculation of the energy in every one of your cells. Well, no, I'm not intimidating. I'm powerful. And I'm tapped into my highest potential. So 2.73 trillion hertz of energy? How am I supposed to be less than what I am? It's impossible. I love you all. Get the most out of it. And you know, when you realize you're in survival, I'm here to help. And like I've said it many times, I am attached to outstanding coaches. These coaches are absolutely outstanding. So if you're too chicken, because that's what I'll call it, if you are too chicken to own your own being and be in control of your life instead of it controlling you, it's time to step up for yourself. And nobody else can do that for you. So you got to take the first steps. And I've said it. If you don't think you can work with me, there are many coaches attached to me that are readily available to help you guys, that will come at you much gentler if that's what you need. But me, I don't know what gentle is. Life has never been gentle, and I'm self-mastered. So I can't tone myself down to accommodate to anybody. But what I fuel for change in this world, that's why I only operate with certain coaches and certain things, because they're on the same level as me. They just can out to you a little bit gentler. Okay? So you can be more receiving of it, so you don't get offended and defensive and all, oh, not me, in this survival mode crap. Guys, I love you all. This is why I do it. But no, I can't come out here and give you less than who I am. And I can't give you less than what I can do. Not at all. Nor will I ever, not for myself or anybody attached to me or any interaction I have by choice. Okay? Guys, I love you all. Get the most out of your day. Set that high vibe. And hey, keep the questions coming, because that question about survival mode today was one of the best questions that I could have gotten. And I get a lot of questions. Today, that survival mode question was the best. And I really am heartfully grateful that you sent it to me. I love you all. Have a great night. Peace.